Day one, no police cars so far. Thank you. Shades are souls. I was talking about shades of the prison house. A shade, talked about shades, is connected to the what we call the soul, which is also a functional instrument and also an actor on a stage. Right? The soul is an actor, and the soul is a soul that has gone through the Yule of the soul. So you think, well, Yuletide, what's that? That's winter, dude. It's like, well, in this iteration, it is the pall over the sun. It is winter as um, death march. So where the sun is marched to death, the sun is marched to its death. And so, spring by spring, or watch by watch of the sun is said to slowly die. It is marching to its death, in which will be comprehended all of our deaths, time, finally, and forever. Right? That's the end of the world. In perfect sense, the sun turns into a red giant, and we all turn into crispy fritters. That's it. It's over. That is our destiny. And all actuaries of human labor, meaning, enjoyment, pleasure, death, birth, and everything else in between that we imagine between the heavens and the earth, they're contained therein. That's what scientists believe. That's their religion. It's all based on death. They're never honest enough to just tell you this, just like a Christian won't tell you that they're really based on death, because it's also wonderful and lustrous and real and factual and astronomical and cosmological, proven by all the fancy numbers. They'll tell you that the sun is made by compounded and increasingly dense orders of nuclear fusion, turning various base metals into even baser metals, and then exploding all that fucking shit into cosmos. Doopy droopy little puddle of insanity develops like the earth. It's got a bunch of shit that we can turn into cell phones and dildos. The stuff of stars, indeed. And that is what's comprehended by a nuclear activity. It's basically marching, every star is marching to its death. So a scientist could tell his child when they're 6 and they're brilliant and say, "You see all the stars? And the sun that warms your heart in the morning as your mother and I fix breakfast? Yes, that's slowly dying." What? And that's what's meant by shades of the prison house. Introducing children to the idea that the warmth of the sun and the brilliance as they understand it in their own celestial biology is something that is marching to its death. Okay? Your telomeres are decreasing. Your memories are piling up because your memorial beckons. And every single memory you have is already forming your memorial. It's forming your grave. And it's part of the plot of your life on the stage of the industrial and economic quagmires and electronic prisons in which you find your most, if soulful, occupations. All right, let's talk about something different for a moment. We're just talking about forms of intimations of immortality. Does that sound like immortality to you? Right? So Wordsworth is a cunt, essentially. Anyway, you dig a little deeper into literature, into music, and you will find a religion of death. In the mytho-heroic, in the mythopoeic, in the legends of the Iliad, everything. You can go to the University of English Literature and American Literature and study Melville. You could study Merv Griffin, for all I fucking care, and you will find death in the genetic profile of all of these arts and crafts and the like. You'll always find death. Death, 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 death. All kinds of death, and along with that death, all kinds of perversions. Wordsworth wrote his greatest love letters to his sister. He was like Adam and Eve. Perversions everywhere, always with the perversions. And you're not even going to see but they're there. And you would like, and here's a good time to chime in. Why would you do this? Whoa! And we put a little finger to our side of our lips. Not. I've never thought of that question before. Why, indeed, would someone put death-related suggestions and perversions into every form of media, literature, and archaeology and science of human existence? That sounds crazy. And what word does crazy have in the middle of it? Ra, the sun. The sun is the source of your craziness. It's so nuclear. Your craziness or mine, right? Ra, ra, ra. The Torah, right, means the torture of the sun. It's a little bit anti-me for my liking. Bull is Tor, because the bull is tortured. The father is sacrificed. His, the mother constitute the new food of the family tree. And I say, if you're going to feed on your parents, then you might as well fucking feed on your parents. You might as well learn something from it, eh? If you're going to cannibalize them, because they first cannibalized you, and when you get married, you're going to cannibalize each other. Yay! Don't worry, you don't have to believe me. It's all crazy. Just keep doing what you're doing and see what happens. So I don't have sex. I don't seek sex with women. I've always been morbidly afraid. If sometimes uncommonly charmed by the ovations, but not anymore, because I've had years away from them now to study them, and the only way they could get to me was by committing acts of violence. And to this day, I don't know women in the area except that they're my stalkers. They're the only women that can get to know me. And in my whole life, the only women who acquaint themselves with me are stalkers and sexual predators. So it's a prayer given that if a woman knows me, she's a sexual predator. Period. Okay. And that guy that passed me on the trail, he's the husband of a sexual predator who also worked with children. And it's an occupational hazard, and they're creepy, but yeah. It's interesting to point out that their dog is slightly better behaved and more sane when it's with the male component of their family and not the female. That's just a mistake. Studies of human beings can proceed from what is particularly obvious, and you simply have to state the obvious. And then it's like, oh, every time that dog is always better behaved when it's with the male than when it's with the female, right? And the dog is female. And still kind of stared at me, Right? Which is weird because the dog usually ignores me or barks at me. It seemed to want attention from me. Yeah, most people will die or move away. Oh, I just think about how wonderful that would feel. Die or move away. It's a song for people that I do not like. Die or move away. Also, if your animals pass away, that's good too. Because then I don't see you on the trail anymore. Die or pass away. Or your favorite pet, whom you love so much, has gone to that heavenly place. Yeah, yeah. They've gone to that heavenly place. Yeah, yeah. And I feel like singing with joy. I don't want to seem too much a goy, but I like it, I do, and I never see you again. Da 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 da, da na 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 na. I should do that at the local, I don't know, community music thing in the summer. Just get open mic night. Hey, you and you, I consider you sexual predators. But I'm sure you think it's really awesome when you say hello to me every other fucking day. I really think you're just gross. You've made up your own little query realities that have nothing to do with me. It's nothing to do with me. I mean, you can just tell me the truth. I'm not. You get a little foggy, different over here. Just a little. My mom, I'm trying to help her to understand that she doesn't realize that my sister induces a different personality complex. My mom literally changes personality when she's talking to my sister. She's so used to being victimized by my sister and just going along with her and being basically ransacked and sexually assaulted by her on the phone that she just becomes a different with her on the phone. Right? And my sister, the way she describes it, my sister's coming to see her, and she's like, she's really tentative because she doesn't know what it's going to be like. It's like, well, geez, you're a freak. Of course it's tentative. Mom doesn't know what the next. She's like an angry pit bull, right? And guess what? My sister works with children. So I'm explaining to my mom, I said, teachers have an occupational hazard, Mom. They often only see children for a little while. And especially if they do private teaching, the children are usually pretty happy to see them because they're giving them extra attention to basically just get through life and themselves, meaning complete their studies, right? Because it's never an academic reason that your child needs a tutor. Never, 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 never. It has never been the case, right? Tutors are basically just for children. That's all we have ever been. I've done a lot of tutoring, and all we are is child psychologists. And I'm really glad, actually, because I don't want to be a fucking child psychologist. And literally, they basically need a stranger. They don't need me. They just need a stranger who's calm and lets them have their feelings and concerns about things that nobody ever asked them about. And just to be in the space of someone whose entire purpose is to let them be intellectual, emotional beings, even if they want to play games on their phone, it's such a wonderful thing for that. And they always like you. They always like you. And so when people are dealing with children who kind of always like them, see these children, and the children have to enjoy the instruction because that's part of the abuse. You have to like it. You can't complain. You don't have a voice of your own. That's what you learn as a child, right? And before you even develop a voice, they make sure you never do. And children have too much of a voice. They fucking speak up too much. They act out, right? Isn't that the word that you're acting out, right? Because you're not acting the right way. You're not enjoying the straitjacket we're putting on you to prepare you for the stage of the economic world as a industrial schizophrenic. And who do you think gets to train you? That industrial schizophrenics and sexual predators, right? And then the child goes on. They never see the outcome. They're like fucking local naturopaths, charlatans, nutritionists, Chinese doctors, whatever. They think, oh yeah, acupuncturist, this is everything. Hyperbaric chambers, this is everything. It's everything. You never see people 10 years later. They never tell you that you didn't solve anything they came to you for, and the people around them know it too. It's worthless. The Reiki, the astrology, it's worthless, it's worthless, it's worthless beyond a placebo. And cult leaders and doctors of Chinese medicine, smart people know this. I've studied it for years. They know that 80 to 100% of why people enjoy naturopathic and alternative healing is because it's a placebo, and it creates at least a temporary effect. The results are ultimately up to you. You just keep going back. You're looking for a way of life. You're looking for a belief system. You're not looking to resolve your issues. They never resolve anyone's issues. They just change into another form. It's like E equals MC squared. Where C represents sharp, M represents, some motherfucker who's willing to sell you shit and shinola because they'll never be disabused of the notion that it'll change your life. All they ever have to fucking know with a lot of magical thinking is that it's changed your life. And E stands account. Dumb. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Bum, ba-dum, dum, dum. Another case solved on Landon, anthropologist, PI. Emphasis on P, emphasis on I, emphasis on emphasis. Feces. My feces. I love my feces. The feces of the imp. Feces. Don't feces on that. That is the wrong feces. This feces. Wait, I'm talking like you. That is not good. Okay. Well, we've gone pretty strong for a while. I've wandered forth, met. Let's see, how many sexual predators I met today? Well, almost 6. Big moment. I knew it was a strange day, and I got started a bit late. But I've met 6 adult, mostly male sexual predators. Yeah. Isn't that something? Not Liz, she's nice. Oh, just keep going. Oh God. And there was a female sexual predator stalker on me about 5 days ago now. Oh, my goodness gracious. It's like Landon can't get away from the sexual predations of the people around him. Where is he to go, to fly, to hide? Woe is me, woe is I, woe unto you, woe. And the ramifications are, lo and behold, woe betide thee unto the ends of the ages. Yeah, people are sick, sure, sick. They're sick, society's made them sick. Gender ethics. It's like, you're born male or female, you think, you feel, you decide, your body, the pressures, the environment. I'm constantly aghast. You meet educated, sexually predatory white females and how they talk with such a cavalier attitude about causes and outcomes when it comes to the satisfying articulation of the corporeal judgment of from every place which is to be understood as a sacred relationship, one upon the other, that builds throughout our lives. It's amazing how many fucking educated people, and I'm saying, and I want you to look at if you can project onto your fucking friends and neighbors. When someone's unable to do this, what does it tell you about your world? One of the things is it's stolen your voice. And whoever you've become and whatever you think you're doing for other people is essentially predatory. Right? You recapitulate. If you don't have a voice, someone else have a voice. And if people don't have a voice, you're just dealing with souls. You're dealing with corpses that need you to tell them, oh, you're unhappy? Go here. You don't like this? Come back here and give me money. And I will tell you how to, use your body and your voice. Do this and feel this. Honor your feelings. What the fuck does that mean? One sexually predatory life coach, you just have to sit with your feelings. Oh, and I found that I was sitting with this feeling, and then, this other time, I was sitting with this feeling. And the more I let it myself feel it, I felt better. I just absorbed it. Oh, and then I didn't have to think about it. And it just got reabsorbed. It's kind of like an instant self-hypnotic vipassana. And that is healthy, to feel our feelings. I had another life coach, psychologist, who told me not to feel my feelings, to swallow my feelings, and to stop writing and stop trying to be a communicator. I had a psychiatrist when I was a child who tried to say, don't be a reader, don't do this. I had another child psychologist tell me, don't worship the earth, don't think of a mother goddess as a sacred being. Every single time, it doesn't matter who they are, they'll tell you what not to do. Not one of them said, I appreciate you, I respect you, you seem perfectly fine to me. Let's consider how we can respond to the conditions and the environment around you, which you're a smart young man. Clearly, you're not responding well because it's not good for you. No fucking child psychologist will ever fucking say that. Never, 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 never. Chances are because their fucking parents are paying for the counseling. Do you see how fucked up that is? It's like the police trying to put me into an institute for the criminally insane and being sent to a psychiatrist who's a police officer. Do you understand the problem with that? So in an easy way, we come across some of the dangers of society. Hopefully at this point you have felt any of occasion to reflect upon many feelings you might have had or sensed or articulated, either way, in any way, the same thing. articulation and feeling are the same thing. I mean, any harm that's been done to you has been articulated through your system, and you already know how to articulate it, and you already have. So if you hit me with a knife and you slam it into my arm, my body's going to articulate everything about what that means to be stabbed. My feelings, my voice, I'll scream, and you're like, do you know what it's like to be stabbed? And you'll say, it's like, yes, I do. My body's completely articulating that. Right? You don't have to give a speech about, well, no, you're not. You have to give a speech. Well, this is my speech on I'm being stabbed. Holy fuck, please stop. It started a few moments ago when you fucking stabbed me. Oh, wait, I should tell a joke. What the fuck happens to somebody who's absolutely nothing, who's your friend? Oh, I know. Gets fucking stabbed, and then told that they can't understand the articulation of that fact unless I give a fucking speech about it. Which at that point, it's not going to work either. And we're like, you're right. I don't understand a fucking thing you're saying. And he's going to stab you again. That's what cults do. Metaphorically, emotionally, mentally, right? Shit is thrown all over your body, right? That's slander. And then people come up to you and say, hey, you got shit all over your body. Why don't you go clean up? You've seen it a million times. Right? What do humans at war? They throw shit on people. The Allies threw shit on the Germans, and the Germans threw shit on us. Right? Well, that worked well. And we call ourselves adults. That's the fucking funny part. Ooh, yes, adulthood. That's coming. You go to a theater. Adulthood. Coming soon. Civilization, adulthood, and an equal proportional redress for all of the indeficiencies which are unworthy of the constitution of the human spirit. And its many gorgeous, aesthetically, and lawful sojourns upon the earth, and draped in all the powers of the heaven that can be sounded forth and here unto our own flesh and blood. Nobody's going to fucking tell you that. Nobody. Not billions of hours of instruction in every fucking school of the world put together could make that syntactically correct sentence, that statement of the fucking music, of the strength of the fucking flesh and blood. Not one fucking teacher, not 1 billion teachers, not 1 billion instructional hours, not all the books in the world will ever tell you that. None of them. Why not? Why not? Why haven't you said that to yourself? I spent my whole life defending the fact that I wrote romantic poetry, classical romantic poetry, which is a lot more than that, but let's call it that. And because it really isn't an English for what I wrote and what I was writing and what I was doing and why you would do that and what's good about it. You've got more understanding of what it means to go to a gym and put on some crotch hugging fucking piece of underwear and go get sweaty for 15 minutes on the treadmill. That makes more sense to most people. And yet it's nowhere near as productive as writing a poem. And it has many more added benefits, but not really if you don't put your gusto into it. There's no point working out if you're not into it. There's no point in sounding forth your voice if there's no passion there. I don't care about talking. Fuck you. Poems, schmoes. Who writes poems, man? Cat on the hat. Go fuck yourself. That's my poem, right? And that's the greatest stupidity of all, right? When someone says, 1,000 years of every oppression being predicated upon pissing down your throat and sticking an oily rag called the soul and lighting it on fucking fire. You don't have any fucking someone who respects you and says, hey, maybe just take a moment to think about the soft recesses and murmurs of what might be contrived to be poetic or tuneful or to sound okay to you in your own fucking mind without the help of fucking Jimmy Kimmel and Lady Hawkins and Lady Gaga. Right? Just take a moment. Take a moment to see if there is still a song in you. Take a fucking glory of your life and all the pain and agony to see if there's a fucking sound worthy of being called a song. If any of your fucking friends or family give 2 pip shits about it, and guess what? We know already they're not going to give any pip shits about it, right? Because the human voice has been for 1,000 years. We've become something other than what we are. That's all. That's everything. It's bad, but that doesn't get any worse than that. And every awful, graphic, disgusting thing that humans have to suffer on this earth comes from that. So if you can honor the human voice, really for the first time in all the gobsmacking slogans and stupidity of the human race, really making a difference. then anyone can do it. And nothing else you do without doing that means fuck, right? Means fuck. It's like if you ripped out your car's computer and carburetor and said, and did everything in the world to make the world a better place, but never fuck acknowledged the loss of the carburetor and the microprocessor. What the fuck would happen to you? That's a lot. You got your children pushing, you got pushing the car, drinking the oil, pissing it back into the gas tank, becoming symbiotic isomorphs of everything that the fucking air filter was supposed to do. You become human beings who lost their fucking mind. Right? Nothing's going to solve it if you don't recognize the loss of the fucking mind, which is the loss of your voice. You lose your voice, you lose your mind. And Aldous Huxley wasn't just talking about the human voice. He was talking about the loss of your mind. Right? And be fucking lucky you suffer what he would call neurotic symptoms or artifacts of this loss. Because it means you're still hungry. It means if you know something's wrong, you can make it right. Because it's that hunger. Doesn't matter if you don't know how. It's that hunger. That's everything. That is the solution. The hunger for the solution of the biggest fucking problem in the world. So you don't just go, oh, that's life. People have to suffer. African children to starve. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Fuck all your teachers. Fuck your mother. Fuck your father. Go back to the fucking grave you came from, you fucking cunts. I want nothing to do with such filth. That's parasitical. You do not fucking accept suffering. We do not fucking accept suffering. We do not fucking accept the torture and starvation of children, anyone around us ever. We don't accept rape. We don't accept fucking abuse. We don't accept people being left alone or tortured or bullied in any fucking way. Most of which most people think is totally fucking okay because people are fucking insane. Do you think their children have a voice? When the child who complains about assault in your family is considered the weird one? Hey, do you think anyone has a voice? When the boy or girl in your family has neurotic complaints or qualms about being fucked over their entire life is considered someone who has a mental, social, or chemical or brain problem or a learning disability? Hey, when the parents have been fucking hitting her over the head since she was 2, but of course they don't tell anybody that because it's normal for them. It'd be like someone telling you like, oh, you gave your child water? You abusive person. Like it's normal to them. It's like water for fucking chocolate. People repeat behavior that they have learned, especially when they're young. Get them when they're young. That's the world's motto. Welcome to the earth. Get them where we get them when they're young. Separate you from your family, your mother. Get as many fucking vaccines, medical professions, legal, medical, and metaphysical protocols shoved up your mother's pussy and down your throat as quickly and as deeply as possible. Right? And make everyone doing it feel like they're serving the fucking world and they should fucking get a raise because of such fucking brilliant, sacrificial, and yet very modest people. There's a reason why Charles Dickens talks about and uses medical professionals in The Birth of Oliver Twist and references them as though incompetent, loving family. Why? Because one, a hospital is there to take you away from your family and assigns you an identity which has nothing to do with having a mother before you're even born. And it's the name of your soul. And they use it to justify, unless you object, what is soon to be your consent to be moved around, plugged, pushed, pulled, and lied to your entire life. Right? No culture, no group, no novel, nothing, no Bertrand Russell, no Immanuel Kant, no Kurt Vonnegut, nothing and no one is ever going to address this problem. Ever, ever, ever. It is not going to happen. I'm saying? So stop waiting for it. So having a voice in your own affairs is nothing to most people. He uses medical professionals because as an industry, it's basically meant to abuse children. It's meant to shove as many throat as possible whenever they get the chance. Medical professionals, as wonderful as their work is, abuse so many fucking people every day. All you have to do is spend a week or two in a palliative care unit or in any wing of any hospital, they don't want you to be there. They don't want people like me there. They'll want to get you out. Doesn't matter if you're your mother and she's passing away. They don't want someone there who pays attention to what they hear and see. Right? And you'll smell things and you'll see things. And medical professionals will say, you didn't hear that. You didn't smell that. They'll literally talk to you that way. Oh no, everything's fine. They talk to you like you're an imbecile, like you're a child. The spell of the cult is so strong that they'll just lie to your face. If your mother craps herself, she'll say, oh, it's all fine. That's nothing. The bed sheet's just a little damp. You know, this is what they do. And you'll find middle-class people whose mothers and fathers are in the hospital like, oh yeah, she just had a small flu and then she got pneumonia and then she died. It happens. That's how they talk about their own parents. Right? The whole society is compliant with this. Okay, I'm going to go over to the island here. I should probably put a couple things away.